What's up, Dan?
Hey, we got 3 weeks left here in the regular season. Is it kind of safe to say now that those Oregon games are not going to be made up?
Of all the questions I thought you were coming at me with, you got me. I didn't know. I really have no idea on that. Um, we have a Pac-12 meeting tonight. Um, Head coaches, I think, I'm not sure, whatever, but we got a Pac-12 Zoom call tonight. Maybe that'll be addressed, but I do not know the answer to that.
Would you like to make them up, or at this point are you kind of locked into to the schedule as it presents itself?
I would say this, Ben, in a general opinion of mine. It's been a long year for everybody involved, and two things. I got on with Chancellor Block, gave me a chance to speak with him on a Zoom call a long time ago, back when we were deciding with a Pac-12 play non-conference, and I asked him two things to him. I said, the kids want to have a season. And they understand that if they don't follow the protocols, that you'll shut it down, as you should. But I said the kids want to have a season, and they also want to have a chance to compete for the NCAA tournament because it was taken away from them last year. 2 years in a row is devastating. If you earn the bid, right? So we lost it last year. We earned the bid. And maybe probably the best bid I'd ever earned as a coach, coming from, the bottom of the ocean to do it. So it was devastating for us. So I said, you kids want to have a season and they want to have a chance to play in the NCAA tournament if they earn it. So we've had our season. We got a few games left. Every day, I know we've made it look easy by knock on wood, not having a positive test since we returned to training in September. But it's not easy. And as you see with Jalen Hill's dealing with some things, this has not been easy on these guys at all, on any of these teams. I think people sit there and they turn on TVs and it's just not, man. So I don't really, I don't really care about anything but the things I promised Chancellor Block I cared about. I want the kids to have a season, have a chance for the tournament. How many games we play doesn't matter to me. But the players matter to me. And right now, my concern with them is their mental health and their physical health. And I'm going to throw this one in. We go to UCLA, obviously the number one public school in the country. And it's not easy when you can't go to class. Our guys can't go to tutors in person. They don't meet with their academic advisor in person. So academics are a concern, right? Because the winter quarter is brutal because we're in competition the entire quarter. It's the only being on quarters is tough because you're in competition that winter quarter. You're in the heart of your season. You're traveling. And you can't meet with any of your tutors, your learning specialists, you're doing it on Zooms. It's just not the same. So I'm concerned with our academics, and our focus there, our mental health and our physical health. That's way ahead of whether we make up games we missed. So that's my long answer on the whole thing. I just, I want to emphasize, I think people start forgetting like this has really been hard on these guys.
Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Any update on Jalen Hill?
I'm in contact with Jalen. My concern for Jalen is his well-being. He knows that. He's in contact with guys on our team, and we're just trying to make sure that he knows he has our love and support, and that's really where that's at right now.
So he's not?
He is still not with us.
Still not with it. Okay. Second part of that question, with Cody Riley kind of getting into foul trouble, are you going to have to? Do you think you're going to have to play Mac Etienne or Kenneth Nwuba a little bit more minutes to absorb some of those fouls?
Well, not against Washington when they played 5 guards. We just played Jalen Clark and Jaime. But obviously against Arizona, that would be a different story, Mike. They're going to play big. They played 2 bigs almost the entire game. So yes, that's a definite, it's all matchups, you know, that won't be the case Saturday, but right now I'm worried about Thursday, where obviously foul trouble is a concern, and their size is a concern.
Tracy?
Hey, Mick.
What's up, Trace?
I find it interesting what you were talking about, just how tough the season has been. Have you done anything special when it comes to counseling or therapy for the team?
They know everything that's available to them. The thing about UCLA, we have the best of the best, right? And Shane, our trainer, does a great job with our guys. So anything that goes on in that realm is private. So we would never disclose anybody that was dealing with stuff like that. But you know what, Tracy, it's hard because, what you don't realize is the only time where they're together to kid around is on the bus, where they're enjoying, being a college basketball player. I don't think people understand that we get a bag of food and go back to our room and eat alone. Other teams don't do that, I don't think, but a lot of California, maybe it's helped us stay safe. We have not had one team meal since we came back in September. It makes for boring road trips. It's just like you say, hey man, the whole world is dealing with it. But these guys, obviously, we've asked them to be super careful, and it takes away from, the fun of it a little bit, the guy, I know when I was out, when I had to sit out some games, the second half of the season, I don't know when it was, 2013 or something like that. The thing I missed the most was just being around everybody on the bus rides, the meals, the laughter, being a part of a team. And other than watching film where we spread out and we don't go we do it out on the court so we can space and wear masks for contact tracing. We just, that part of it's gone for them, just like their social life on campus, or, our campus is empty. So that stuff's all available to them, but I could obviously never disclose who was dealing, who was using any type of counseling stuff.
Your interaction with them is taken away some too, just your ability to bond when you're on.
Yeah.
So do you compensate for that? Are you Zooming with them or calling them more?
I mean, we come in the mornings. We're here a lot. It's the time away from the court, I think, that hurt everybody in college basketball. So, I always say it's everybody. It's not just us. But, like when I went to buy a house, part of the house I bought in Encino was a place where I could have the team over. I could have recruits over, have the team over, have pool parties, have outdoor stuff with my team. And, we haven't had one since the pandemic hit. So yeah, all that stuff, Trace, absolutely. I mean, all of your ability to just be social with the guys away from the floor and the bonding and all that type of stuff. So thank God this happened in my second year. If this would happen in your first year, at least now we all have real relationships, and that we've spent time together. It would have been brutal if it, any coach that this was their first year, very, very tough on them.
Who makes the decision to schedule an Oregon game during that USC week? Whose decision is that?
I think, from my again, I don't know. I don't run the league. I think that we'll find some of that out tonight. I think this comes from the league office, and it's probably got to be agreed upon by athletic directors. But I honestly don't have it. I'm just giving you what I think is probably the protocol.
Go to Bruce Pascoe.
Yeah, Mick, I was wondering just kind of the big picture. I know in light of what you're saying, maybe it's difficult to compare this year to last year, but I was wondering at least, where you guys feel you're at. I mean, it was such a drastic turnaround last year. This year, it seems like, lately you've just had a couple of obstacles to face. And I was wondering kind of where you feel like you guys are at.
Yeah,
overall.
Bruce, I heard you. It was just for whatever reason, it wasn't as loud, but this year versus last year, where we're at, last year was a whirlwind building a program. and teaching guys how hard you have to compete to win games. I think we kind of, obviously we've had a few obstacles, right? Cody basically didn't play 2 games because of the Washington State game. He was fouls and ineffective, and he's still getting back healthy. Losing Chris Smith's brutal. Then you lose Jalen Hill, but we just don't believe in excuses here. It's a different, right, totally different scenario, right? Because of what we're going through now, but definitely, this year's so crazy, Bruce. I mean, just happy to play every game. That being said, I think, the kids' expectations are different this year. And then that's been affected by our injuries. But I've tried to tell them that shouldn't affect our expectations. We should still have our same I'm saying our expectations, not anybody else's for us. Hey, we're out there battling, and we got really good kids. We have no seniors on this team. So, much like Arizona, you got a chance to have everybody back next year, plus your recruits. So, you're just trying to get, all you can focus on is just trying to get better every time you're together, whether it's practice or a game.
Does the fact that you guys have been so good in close games, in overtime, 1 or 2 session games, is that a consolation, or is that something you're kind of proud of with this team? That at least
you either win or lose, man. The losers talk about officiating, and the winners go out to dinner, Bruce. So I don't care how many we win by. I don't think we're with losing Chris, then now losing Jalen, we're not in a position to blow people out in the Pac-12. That would take me to my main, topic probably, Bruce, of what happens in our league. Arizona was really young, and now they've got games under their belt. Arizona State's been through a lot, but everybody in our league, other than our Marquette home game, the Pac-12 had to go east to play every high major game. Nobody came west except Marquette. Okay. And I would like to say what our record would have been if the Ohio State game was in California. If Southern Cal UConn was in California instead of Connecticut, if Tennessee plays at Colorado, if North Carolina has to go to the Bay Area to play Stanford instead of Asheville, North Carolina, and on and on. You just keep looking at it. So now what's happened, our league is completely disrespected. Oregon had to go to the Midwest to play Missouri. So if you lose a game, God forbid USC loses, you'll be out of the top 25. Where other leagues, it's they just lose and it don't matter. Everybody still thinks they're really good. Because we really had the pandemic really hurt us with scheduling in the preseason. And then teams get better. Our league is way better than people think. I'm not saying we're winning the national championship. I'm not saying that. They're clearly 2 favorites. But there's teams in 4th place or 2nd place in our league that are just as good as teams in 2nd and 4th place in other leagues. But we're not treated the same in the national rankings and the perception. And Dana Altman, Sean Miller, that you cover, Tad Boyle and these guys, they all told me that was going to happen when I got here. They said, welcome to the Pac-12. That's part of it.
Let's go back to Ben.
You talked about Johnny's ability to move without the ball, and obviously he can shoot the ball, but what else goes into his ability to be an elite scorer like we saw the other night?
Well, obviously you got to be able to get this ball and basket. I keep reminding him that he's made more 2s than 3s on the year. I still think he rushes some 3s where he could just drive the closeout. True, my goal with him in his career here, I got to get him to the foul line. It's something we're working on now. Is he had a good drive in the Washington game where he got himself fouled on the drive. He's always escaped any contact, and it's all been about the jump shot. So we're working on getting him to where he can get fouled. But at the end of the day, Ben, when you can shoot, when I say that, because he can really shoot the pull-up jump shot. He's an elite shooter on the pull-up. Is to not force the 3 when you can just drive the closeout and shoot the pull-up, and then add getting fouled when he's being physically played hard and crowded on how to draw fouls is the next level I want him to add to his game. And he's a better passer than people think as well. He's our second best guy in the pick and roll.
Is what we're seeing with him just a continued growth, development, and comfort level? I mean, his roles kind of changed twice now, right? I mean, he first became a starter at the college level to start this year. Then Chris goes down and he's got to take more of the scoring load. Now are we kind of seeing all that comfort level improving and what's happening on the court as a result of all that?
Yeah, I will tell you, Rick Pitino said this a long time ago when I first got with him. Young players shoot a low percentage. When they get minutes played, they're going to, because they can score. I'm talking about a guy that can score. The more minutes you play, the game slows down, your shooting percentage is going to go up. And that's what you've witnessed with Johnny this year. It's just a matter of minutes played equals more confident, more comfortable. The game slows.
Tracy?
We haven't talked about Arizona. What have you seen from them since you last played them? It seems like they're shooting the three even better than they were before, and they drive the ball well. How do you approach them a little bit differently than maybe you did the first time?
Well, they lead the Pac-12 in scoring. I think Akinjo's tremendous, unbelievably underrated guard. There's an argument that he has had a better year than Nico Mannion had last year. And that's not a knock on Nico Mannion. I think he's tremendous. That just tells you what I think of Akinjo. And they're elite on the backboard. They play with tremendous size. And Sean has just done a great job of coaching them as if they're still playing for the NCAA tournament. Like when you watch them play, there's zero checkout in them. There is zero checkout in them. I mean, they got young guys. They're building for the future. And the way they compete is, it's just a staple of his teams. I've known Sean a long time, man. I play. Obviously, we had crosstown shootouts in Cincinnati. So, he keeps them competing. And they got multiple bigs, Trace, that Mike brought it up earlier, concern of their bigs wearing our bigs down into foul trouble. We've got, we've got to be able to be a little bit better with our decisions defensively with our big guys. You got to be able to battle, but you can't be able to battle without fouling. And that's going to be a big key in the game. But just really impressed with how hard they just continue to play. And obviously now they lost Jermel Barker, but they got Kerr, a kid named after Steve Kerr is a great player from Europe, is eligible now. He's shooting 7 threes a game, so it adds him another shooter.